It's time for my Week 10 match from the regular season in the Backyard Baseball Online League, Little League, Season 7. Got my ice cream here. Sorry if I just made a noise like jostling the microphone. I'm up against Theo Epstein this week. So Week 10, after the completion of this game, there will be only 4 more games in the regular season. At this point, before the result of this game, I am undefeated at 9 wins, 0 losses, so I've actually already clinched a playoff berth, but of course I'm going to go for a first-round bye. And more than that, I'm going to try to go 14-0. I would say that I have one really tough opponent remaining in my schedule who could give me some trouble and potentially snap my undefeated streak. That is, if Theo doesn't snap it in this game. So let's see what he and the Minnesota Twins can do. Starting off with a 1-pitch out against his leadoff hitter, who was at Jillian Payne, Liz Kinghorn. I don't know. Gotta lock in here. This is Tanya, the Jose Canseco clone. Pretty low contact rating, so I don't feel as though I need to intentionally walk her. We're going to save the intentional walk for another of Theo's batters, who's a little bit more threatening. Don't blame him for swinging at that. It also kind of looked like it was going to be in the zone to me. So this is Liz Kinghorn. So he did lead off with Jillian Payne. Interesting choice. Only a 5-speed that he's got in the leadoff spot. Not sure I like that. Also noteworthy, he's got 3 tall blonde girls. Ooh. Nearly got the out, even though Gwen had to go to the ground to pick up that ball. So here's the power hitter I mentioned, who I will likely be walking. Yep, you can see just throwing it at Mark's, red tennis shoes there. Yeah, so Theo has 3 tall blonde girls leading off. Maybe that's the reason that he has a 5-speed. Leading off his batting order in Jillian Payne. He just wanted the 3 blondes in a row. All right, here's Jeff. So I definitely do not fear Jeff's bat. An 81, power rating means he can hit it out of the park, but I had Hillary Vargas, who's the Jeff Bagwell clone, on my team at the start of the season, and she rarely did that kind of damage. You can see Jeff just grounds out there, and Artie has his choice of how to get the out. He decides to tag the slow Mark McGuire. And the team switch places. Getting things off with Wally. It's going to be in the zone. No. Ball. I hope I line up the video and audio correctly this time when I upload or when I render this video before uploading it. Apologies for kind of messing it up in the last video, which I guess was my game against Matt 95. Swing a little early there so we can pull the ball, and Jeff, despite being a 3 height, does not go for that. I'll take the single, I guess. Does it mean that... Oh, yeah. Oh. Hate to foul that off. Not sure what's going on if Theo is pitching, like, down the middle. You know, with only, at that point, he'd had only 5 pitches thrown. Yeah, what's the deal with the meatballs? Claudia, not a legitimate home run threat, but she creams that one, and I can totally understand how it happened. That ball was like straight down the middle. Of course, it was a hook, but where it ended up was the middle of the zone. So we're off to a quick 2-0 lead. So my opponent has Diana Hayes on the mound. She has the exact same stats as Chucky Flinder on my team. So in terms of pitching, lots of stamina, but only a heat and a left hook to work with. And I'm not seeing him use the left hook very much. I'm sorry, not seeing him use the heat very much. It's going to be a ball as well. It looks like all left hook. Yeah, and here it is again. He gets me with that one. I thought it was going to be outside. Nicely done, mixing up the pitch location. Though it is just the same kind of pitch over and over. Which means I'm going to be getting, you know, I'm going to be benefiting from a velocity buff. If I ever hit a left hook that's been pitched after another left hook. He breaks it up with a slow ball there. And another one. So, yeah, we're just getting an intentional walk here. I think. I'll probably swing at the next pitch to force him to... Oh! I guess I thought that was hittable, and perhaps it was, but... Should have just swung super early. So there'd be no risk of contact, and I'd force him to throw a 5th pitch. Got greedy there. Oh. Rough stuff. There seems to be like a second baseman curse going around because Wally, you know, my second baseman, who I often complain about when I do these commentary recordings. Oh, yeah. Smack that. Yeah, these left hooks that end up like hanging right over the plate for me to nail are just not working out for my opponent. I was talking about the second baseman curse. Yeah, so I'm always complaining about Wally. But looking at Theo's team, his second baseman is Brett Olson, who has a 100 out of 100 coordination rating. Like, I can understand him bobbling the ball at first, but when he went to pick it up on the second attempt, him bobbling it again is just really unfortunate. So the score should rightly be 3-0. Or actually, that shouldn't have happened at all. He should have gotten his 3rd out against Gwen. But this game is just, you know, uncooperative at the best of times. Still having a blast, though, personally, this season. I mean, winning is fun, but nice hit. Better catch. It's fun. It's fun to win. It feels good, but I would have fun playing even if we're going like 500. You know, I don't mind losing to people who are better than I am. I don't think I've encountered any opponents in the Little League just yet who are quite on my level. But there are a couple of them, I think, in the other league, the Front Yard League. And, you know, there are, of course, scrimmages that I can play, and you know, there's the tournament that I just recently finished where I took 3 losses against What's It To Ya, Jasmine, and Matt 95. another tournament coming up as well, the March Madness bracket. I highly doubt I will win all of my games in that one, so I'll be uploading at least, one loss when I get around to that. I don't mind losing. Of course, that's easy, easy for me to say. Once we get into the playoffs in the Little League and I take a loss here or there, we'll see whether I'm singing the same tune. All right, back to this game. All right, we've got Chucky. So 2 players with identical stats facing off right now. Diana on Theo's team, Chucky on mine. We'll see who gets the better end of this exchange. Looks like it's going to be Diana. Theo has his strongest fielder, Kathy, at catcher, which is an interesting choice. Perfect pitch there from Diana. So the pressure's on Fernando. This is very hittable, though. I don't think that's going to leave the park. And unfortunately for my opponent, not only does he flub the ball out there in right field, but when his outfielder went to pick it up, she had to dive to do it. So Fernando gets to second, and I don't have to sprint too much to make it happen. Yep. A nice play from my opponent, immediately relaying the ball to second to get the double play. Unfortunately, Fernando tripped and fell on the base path there. But realistically speaking, I should have turned him around a little sooner. So that's on me. So my opponent is swinging at junk here. I wonder if he is purposefully striking out in order to get like a stamina refill. Not sure, but that was really a mismanaged at bat by Theo. He's back to the top of his order now with Jillian up, though, and he seems, based on how this at-bat is developing, seems like he's going to be a little more patient. Fernando's stamina already flagging a bit. So it looks like I'm going to be putting Chucky on the mound, but it is the top of his order, so I'm going to have to throw some fastballs against, some of his power hitters. At least if I want not to just, spam left hooks like he was doing with Diana earlier in the game. Trying a bit of an odd configuration here. I've got Wally off second base. Fernando is there instead. We'll see whether this, helps me or hurts me. Count is full. Make a little micro adjustment there. And somehow we still get that out, even though Gwen flubs the ball at third, and then Alicia leaves the bag in catching it. That was definitely a situation where Theo, if he'd sprinted a little bit, could have made it. Inching the ball into the zone against Tanya. Kind of a dangerous strategy. And we're going to pitch low here, it looks like. Try to get him to bite at something outside the zone. So that ball was hittable. I guess he mistimed his swing or perhaps whiffed on power. Unfortunate for my opponent, but he will still have his, 3, 4, 5 batters at minimum coming up in the top of the fourth. So the game is not over. Could still be competitive. Getting out to a quick 0-2 lead in this at bat. My opponent tries to bait me into swinging at some junk. All right, we should be heading for second. Yes. Though Claudia makes contact, Theo does get the out, so now we've got Alicia coming up. You'll notice, I suppose, if you're paying like super close attention to all these uploads, which I don't think anybody is, my batting order used to be Wally, Claudia, Cheryl, Alicia, and now I've swapped my 3 and 4 batters. The idea is that, the previous idea was that it was meant to punish people who walked Cheryl, as I would have another power hitter up behind her. But now I'm thinking, well, Alicia's kind of slow. She's not able to, with her big stamina, she's not able to sprint as effectively as I thought she would. So given that she's slow, I'd rather get her on base if I can, and then hit her home with Cheryl. That's why Alicia is here in the 3-hole, fighting a losing battle against Mark McGuire here, who's taking the mound for Theo. I'm way behind in the count. Is this going to stay fair? It looks like it is. And I'm near... See, that's what I'm talking about. Even though, Alicia has tons of stamina to sprint with, she doesn't actually get up to a super high speed, even when you're clicking. Pretty happy with Alicia getting out, though, since Cheryl can just send it out of the park. All 5 of my runs have come from home runs here. If I remember correctly, Claudia had a 2-run shot, Artie had a 2-run shot. Both of those were in the first inning. And now here in the bottom of the third, a solo slam for Cheryl. Good contact there from Gwen. Not upset about that hit at all. Vic Souffle, one of the funniest backyard baseball names, is my opponent's shortstop. He makes that grab, to end the inning, but he could have easily dropped it. You often have to kind of count on drops in this game. You can see Liz here at the plate. I think Liz should probably be Theo's leadoff man, or leadoff, woman. She can probably make it. Yeah, she makes it even without the need to sprint. She makes it to first base there. She's got speed, man. If I were Theo, I would probably go, maybe Kathy first, Liz second, and then Tanya, and then Mark. You could even swap Mark and Tanya. Those would be the 3 batters that I would kind of stack the start of the lineup. So the previous time that I walked Mark, it was with 2 outs. And so I, had no qualms about putting him on. Here, I've got 0 outs. And now he's got 2 runners, 2 base runners. So, much different situation. Oh, here we go. So I attempted to put Cheryl in position to grab that ground ball, as I could kind of see the course it was going to take in this view of the screen, before it went to the overhead view. I knew it was going to bounce to the right a little bit. But I ultimately, failed to do so. Manual fielding is, I would say, the #1 thing that separates, the men from the boys, so to speak, in the Backyard Baseball Online League. Ooh, that is so hittable. Really, really unlucky development for Theo there to get me out of that jam. My heart goes out to him. I've had innings end in similar fashion this season. Dinky little hit there from Artie. Yeah, and he gets thrown out there, as I expected when I saw that Jeff was going to be fielding kind of a softly hit ball. Sometimes he drops the ones that are hit a little harder, but he's got a cannon for an arm. So if it's a soft ground ball we're talking about, he just picks that up and throws out pretty much anyone. No problem. That's going to be a ball, yes? No. A strike. Mark, not with the best pitch selection. None of his pitches are super strong, which gives his hooks a little bit of trickery. But he also does not have very good stamina, so I really don't love seeing him on the mound. Yeah. Oh, that was a pitch in that location against, someone at the top of my order. That is going deep. Tricky. Nicely handled. Like, good inning for my opponent there. Okay, we're getting towards the bottom of my opponent's lineup. You should have batters like Vic, Brett, Diana down here at the bottom. So Chucky can... Whoa! A little embarrassing. So this is a mistake that I made once before this season, where when you click on a base, like first, second, or third base, it makes you auto-field. And a poor decision there, not to throw to second to get the force out. Not this last play, but the one before it. I clicked home thinking, oh, well, that'll just make Chucky auto-field the ball. But it doesn't. That only works if you click first, second, or third. So now, through much fault of my own, I have, my opponent has runners on first and second once again. Thankfully, he has Diana up at the plate, so we can just get her to ground into a double play, most likely. If I were Theo, I might actually take a strikeout here. Because if Diana makes contact, she could easily ground into a double play. I would recommend taking a strikeout here. So we do not throw to the correct infielders in the right order. Should have thrown to second to begin with, but we still get the double play. Pretty poor fielding from me in this inning, I would say. Gonna have to clean that up before the playoffs. And, you know, one good way to do that is just to keep... Ooh, interesting. I wanted that to be outside the zone. It ended up inside, despite me locating it fairly far away. In order to get him to swing at it, you know, because you're incentivized to swing at special pitches so you can get power-up hits. My opponent threatening to score. Got a runner on third. Alright, I think this is a wise time to use the more juice. Tried to get a perfect location on that right hook. We'll try to do the same with the left hook. And it is a ball. Good patience from Theo. What I was mentioning before, if you want to like train yourself to have better like fielding, make better decisions as the fielding coach, you can just keep track of who's on base for your opponent and their speed. You know, their speed ratings. So you know where the best force out is at any given moment. Just a little blooper from Tanya there. Despite her perfect power rating, she has a pretty low contact stat. I don't know whether that impacts her hit quality, but regardless of the mechanics, she is not able to put one over the fence for Theo there, and he really needed that, honestly. The game is pretty much locked up for me at this point, since he was not able to drive in any runners there. But we'll see what kind of damage I can do here or he can do in the top of the sixth. Or beyond, if the game reaches that point. I think Mark's stamina is probably fairly low. Whoa. Big hit from Fernando. And we are able to reach second because of the drop from his outfielder. Wonder who he's got out there in left field specifically. Oh yeah, hit that. Ooh, swung slightly early. Likely a conscious choice, as the earlier you swing, the more you pull the ball based on the mechanics of the game. Yeah, another thing I'm going to need to work on is figuring out when pitches are inside the zone, when they're pitched high like that. Okay, yep. Oh my gosh. Really unfortunate decision there for me to send Fernando when he was just standing around on third base. Or not unfortunate, I was just bad. Yeah, the base running, yet another thing that I need to clean up. I think this was a timeout from my opponent. Yeah. His starting pitcher is back on the rubber. Just one out here, so I'm in good shape. Yeah, now we have Alicia and Cheryl coming up. So 2 opportunities for big power. Not what I wanted to see out of Alicia, but it's perfectly fine. This gives Cheryl an opportunity to pad her stats. Oh, but it looks like she's going to be walked, and I think that makes sense. I'm going to swing early to try to egg him into actually pitching to me. Looks like he might actually do it based on the location of that hook, but not that one. Okay, and then so Cheryl, in the guise of Alicia, heads to first base. And now, can Gwen do it? We've got, you know, reasonably fast-paced runners on all three bags. Eesh, not a good start. So grounder is a, you know, a viable strategy here. Just hope that it takes a weird bounce. With Theo up real quick. 0-2. There's the catch from Kathy. He does have his best fielder behind the plate. Regrettably, we were not able to tack on any more runs there, but, I mean, the game is virtually over at this point. Yeah, I think that change makes sense. We're going to keep experimenting with Artie at second and Wally in left field, I suppose. Or Wally in the outfield, at any rate. Okay. Liz has reached base twice in this game. Quick strikeout there. That was the location of that pitch was real tough. So let's see what kind of power up I got. A crazy ball. Probably not going to be throwing that. Don't want to open up the door for some sort of ridiculous comeback. If my opponent manages to hit, you know, a crazy ball or a corkscrew. So I walked Mark the last two times that he came up to the plate. I might as well pitch to him here. And the benefit of pitching to a power hitter, you know, is that they might strike out. Same goes for Jeff here. Not quite the power hitter that Mark McGuire is, but we will try to end the game with this at-bat. Not able to do so, unfortunately, as Alicia, you know, makes her way off the bag once again for no discernible reason. I might have been able to throw it to her once she had made her way back over, but instead I goofed up and... What the heck? Wow. Did not expect him to be safe there. What a bizarre decision to steal with a 5-speed player. Okay. Hey, props to Jeff. He's hustling out there. And Kathy, a pretty decent hitter with a lot of speed. So she, you know, could have done some damage potentially, but we do get the W there. So this game marks my 5th game in a row, my 5th shutout in a row, which is pretty crazy. I've had a couple, like some 5-0 victories. I had that big 20 bomb versus Andy Rue earlier in the season. My run differential is absurd. So looking forward to the next game, the next close contest, I guess, the next opponent who can put up some runs against me. Theo definitely got close, though. There were some moments. He had some moments. It was not a blowout by any means. So I wish him luck in the playoff race in the Backyard League, our half of the Little League this season. Next up on the channel should be my game against Montagna Magica, first round of the March Madness bracket. Look forward to it. See you then.